I'm Melissa Fleischut. I'm President and CEO at the New York State Restaurant Association. And to speak to what has happened to the restaurant industry during this pandemic, I would say that we were one of the hardest hit industries across the country, and particularly here in New York State and New York City. We're just devastated by the shutdowns and the inability to really operate at a regular capacity for the restaurant industry. While some of our restaurants were able to reopen for indoor dining upstate, in New York City, the mandate to shut us down for indoor dining lasted much longer. So they were limited, restaurants here were limited to takeout and delivery and outdoor dining, which have been huge for us and will continue to be huge for us as we continue to come back as an industry. But it did definitely put a damper on our ability to, evolve and grow over the last 2 years. Some of the things that we worked on to help the industry included the Payroll Protection Program, the PPP, at the very beginning of the pandemic, changes that had to be made to that, and then round 2 of that. The Restaurant Revitalization Fund was a help, but only for some restaurants. About 35% were able to receive funding for that. And to give you an extent of how great the need was, more than 27,000 restaurant, bars, and caterers across New York State applied for that funding, and the request for New York was $9.6 billion. And unfortunately, with only 35% actually receiving funding, we still have 17,868 restaurants, bars, and caterers that were not funded through that program. So there's a desperate need for those who didn't receive the funding to get what they thought they were going to receive from this program. And hopefully Congress will act on this in the next week. In addition to the funding that we've asked for at the federal level, we continue to push for the Cocktails to Go and Drinks to Go program with Governor Hochul. She's a strong supporter of this at the state level, and we want to bring that program back. We could have used it months ago during the pandemic, the last wave with Omicron, when we saw 86% of our restaurants were telling us in January of 2022 that they were worse off than they had been 3 months ago. So it was a real devastating time period to again lose another holiday season here in New York to the Omicron wave. But I think with the lifting of Key to NYC and checking vaccine mandates at the door, our operators are excited about that change today. They're excited to see people start coming back out and feel like the weather's very warm today, and we are back and we are in New York and things are starting to open up again. And we feel confident that if we can put all these pieces together, refund and replenish RRF, get Drinks to Go, get outdoor dining settled here in the city, we can build back and come back and be a very strong industry again. We know it's going to take time. We know there's inflation and supply chain issues that we're still dealing with, and it's difficult. We're not open 7 days a week. Many of us aren't open for lunch right now, but we do have a very positive attitude. This is a very resilient industry, and we do believe that New York is going to come back and be the restaurant capital of the world everyone expects us to be.
Let's talk about Governor Hochul. She seems very aggressive. She seems like a great partner.
She's been very supportive of the hospitality industry from what we have seen. She's committed to Drinks to Go and has said so on several times. She's included it in the executive budget. There's some nice tax credit programs in the state budget that she has put forward, as well as a really interesting program, the Restaurant Resiliency Program, not to be confused with the RF program at the federal level, but this is actually a program that helps fund restaurants to create and provide meals for food insecurity. It's starting off small, but we really feel that there's some momentum here, and it's a great partnership to address an issue that obviously existed long before the pandemic, but the need is great, and we love being a part of the solution.
Okay, and lastly, you were with Mayor Adams today, and that's awesome. He seems like a great partner as well.
Yes, and his energy is also very infectious. He is excited. He's very vibrant. He loves food. He tried a bunch of plant-based products while we were here at the show today, and he's committed to bringing back the city and bringing back the hospitality industry. So I think he's going to be a great partner for us as we move forward.
He said he loves tonight.
Yes, he did.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.